Greetings, duelist. Welcome to another video. As some of you guys already know, the OCG Forbidden and Limited list for April 2023 got revealed, and there were a bunch of significant changes. Even though we're primarily a channel that lean towards the TCG, at least I do discussions mainly involving TCG content because I am a TCG player more than the OCG. It's very cool and important to see changes that occur in the OCG because it might reflect stuff that could happen with us in the future despite how different their format is. But yeah, I hope you guys liked this discussion, and without further ado, let's begin. Um, so for limited, we have Blaster, Baldrake, Druid's Worm, Bulb, Kelbeck, Medora, Spread Blue, Havness, Merly, Lubellion, and Skildrain. I'll talk about those alongside the banning of Sprite Elf. I'll start with the sprites. Um, as you guys already know, Sprite Elf is already in the Forbidden list in the TCG. Very smart hit. I think the people in the OCG just arrived at the conclusion that just how incredibly ill-designed Sprite Elf is as a card, just how powerful it is as a rank, like as a link 2. It not be able to be used as link material is not really relevant, especially with the effect that it has, like as a card. But yeah, this is basically collateral damage to the bestial like Synchro Turbo deck, because it plays a bunch of level 2s. It's also a hit to Tier Elements because Tier Elements Merly was unlimited, and it was a really good card for recursion and like interruption, and just like a really solid card in general. So that's it about Sprite Elf. Sprite Blue was also collateral damage as well as the Bestials. Like in the OCG, the Bestial control deck was the Bestial Synchro Turbo deck was kind of really popular. It was really strong, and this kind of tells you how powerful the Bestials were in design. Take note that Bestial Magnamut is already limited. With Magnamut, Baldrake, and Druid's Worm all falling to 1, that means that the only unlimited main deck Bestial, like, you know, a level 6 one, would be Saronir. And Saronir doesn't have, like, the best effect out of all of them. Will it be played in future lists? That is very unsure of. This card is mainly played in Branded, and Branded is already like hit in the OCG. They have Branded Fusion Limited. And if I'm not mistaken, Branded Opening is at 2. It's like semi-limited. Actually, no, Branded Opening is also limited. So, yeah, like, I think moving forward, Bestials could still be played, but it's not going to be at the same volume and strength as it is currently at the moment. The Ichizu hits, as well as the tier hits, this was expected. Like Tier Elements was still the best deck, even after all the significant hits it received in the OCG. It just showed you how powerful the deck was. With all these cards limited, it's pretty much on par with the TCG. So expect a huge decline in Tier Elements showing on future lists in the OCG. Skill Drain. Outside of Runic control, which kind of explains Fountain also being hit. Um, like I don't think there's any other deck or strategy that kind of played this that was doing well in the OCG. And maybe you can lean towards Labyrinth. That's another like strategy that probably was playing this card that's seen some level of success in the OCG. But outside of those two decks, I don't think we had Skill Drain like had a very significant showing. So I cannot think of another very concrete reason for it to be hit outside of those decks' success. That being said, whenever it comes to floodgates, I feel like floodgates are just not the best approach for decks to be dealing with strategies in the game. I feel like they can be very one-sided if you do not draw the proper outs to it for it. And it kind of becomes like that rock paper scissors game of like, did you draw an out or did you not draw the out, or if they drew enough floodgates or not. So I kind of like this hit. It's very soon to tell if this will happen in the TCG. However, Labyrinth is a popular deck in the TCG at the moment, and it is a deck that plays Skill Drain. So, maybe we'll see a similar hit in the future. But for now, that's kind of like very unsure. Um, so, Blaster. This card has been the Forbidden list since like early 2014, if I'm not mistaken. I'm not sure about how long it got hit in the OCG, but I know in the TCG it got banned at like the beginning of 2014. So it has been like a decade since we've seen this card. That being said, I think that we're at a point where Dragon Rulers are a bit power crept. I feel like the Bestials are kind of better Dragon Rulers in a sense, and the Bestials like pretty much solidified what dragons could have been doing as a strategy. So I don't think this hit, like I don't think this return will be super relevant. My stance on Dragon Rulers is Dragon Rulers are as strong as the engine that it's paired up with. Right now, there is no real powerful dragon strategy in the game that warrants like the Dragon Ruler staying like in the Forbidden list outside of like pretty much Dragon Link, and I feel like the Bestials were just doing a better job. So I'm glad to see its return. Will it see play? I don't think so. At the time of this recording, we currently have two Dragon Rulers like they are going to be released. Like pretty much we already had Tempest and now it will be Blaster. Maybe in the future we might see the other two. The only Dragon Ruler I'm very skeptical about is Redux, and the main reason for that is because of Vernosovs. For those who are unfamiliar, Super Heavy Samurai is a really good deck in the OCG right now. And it's pretty much an Earth toolbox deck paired with Adamancipators, which comes to the next discussion I'm going to make. Global. With Hulky 5 gone, there is no real powerful deck that can abuse Globulb to a very high degree outside of like pretty much another plant deck. That being said, Bulb being a level 1 Earth turner that can recur itself means that it could see play in a future like Adamancipator Turbo deck. As you guys probably know, Block Dragon is still unlimited in the OCG, despite it being in the Forbidden list here in the TCG. And Super Heavy Samurai, like they've gotten recent OCG support, and it's really strong. So, will we see Glow Bulb in this deck? Um, Maybe. I think there's a really good possibility for it. Um, that being said, I think its return is not an unwelcomed one. Um, that's it for limited. Um, so we'll talk about the semi-limiteds now. The semi-limiteds are Steam, Gazelle, Dragonhawk, Ancient Fairy Dragon, Ptolemaeus, Saryuya, Nadir Servant, Runic Fountain, Spellbook of Judgment. I already spoke about Runic Fountain. I think it's pretty much them soft checking the Runic Stun deck. That deck was a bit popular in the OCG. So with the limit of skill drain and the semi-limit of Runic Fountain, that deck pretty much became a little bit weaker. Spellbook of Judgment. This card has not done anything since its return. I think this is a very powerful card. However, at the pace that we are at the game at the moment, there's no real like strategy to that makes Spellbook like as advantageous as other strategies in the game at the moment. I think these cards have already been card crept. It's been like in the Forbidden list for like a decade, pretty much same as Blaster. Now being semi-limited, could we see some success with Spellbook in the future? It's very soon to tell. If they do get future support, like cards that will make them relevant to our current format, I could see it happening. But at that moment, I don't think that is the case. Nadir Servant, this card's unlimited in CCG. It's dogmatic as has pretty much been power crept. That's pretty much all I have to say about that. Sarjuja Scoldred. So there's a discussion that Joshua Smith made the other day. Shoutouts to him. He has a video. He has a channel called Joshua Smith Plus, where he has like a very short explanation about cards in general. And he made one talking about access code or link for monsters, rather in general. And pretty much what his answer was that we've gotten to a point where link 4 monsters are really powerful. They're like really broken, but they just kept printing better ones and more ones that with more utility. So like if you're playing a combo deck, you need to ask yourself, why would you play Scarjuja Scoldred outside of any other link 4 like Appaloosa and like access code. That's pretty much like my consensus with that. Ptolemaeus, Taylor Knights recently got new support. Sadly, it has not done a lot in the OCG since that has happened. Despite how really good the cards are, I don't think the cards are bad quality at all. I think these cards are really strong and really good for an archetype like this. However, I just feel like the format's not right for cards like this. There's no real abuse with this card. Like the most abusive thing you could have done with this was Azathoth, and that card is pretty much like gone. So like without a really powerful rank 5 that you can summon, I don't think Ptolemaeus like is justified just staying limited. This card can be unlimited and pretty much won't do anything. Ancient Fairy Dragon, with its most recent errata, all its effects are hard once per turn. This card is really good still in design. However, you don't need multiples of these. we're at a point in the game where you won't create a tempo playing multiple of these. So I think this card is fine just being unlimited. Thunder Dragon Hawk. This is an interesting one because when it comes to Thunder Dragons in the OCG, this is the only card that is still limited outside of Colossus. But I think one Colossus is fine in the OCG. I think Colossus is still a very powerful card. Like I strongly believe if this card was legal in the TCG, we would have been having Thunder Dragons having some level of success. That being said, it's not as successful in the OCG. I just feel like the more advantageous decks or the more powerful decks in the OCG just are not phased by Colossus that much. And probably they have a higher ceiling than a deck with Thunders as an engine or as a strategy is. So I think this is fine, semi-limited. Gazelle semi-limited, I think this already happened in Master Duel. If I'm not mistaken, it probably is unlimited in Master Duel. I think this card's fine. Like my general consensus is Mathmech Circular is basically better Gazelle. Like, and this deck is also not as powerful or as successful in the OCG. So I think this card just got power crept. Steam the Cloak. This is a very interesting one. It's effect this once per duel. This is a very powerful card. But it's the deck that abuses it the most. It's Dragonity. Dragonity is pretty much like a tier 3, tier 4 deck. Which is sad to say because unironically this is like my favorite archetype in the entire TCG, like in the entire game. But as somebody who has played this strategy like enough times and has a very favorite bias towards it, I have to pretty much admit, like this card, as powerful as it is, it won't make this strategy tier 1. So this card also doesn't help Blackwings a lot. Like, I mean, it kind of does being a tuner and stuff, and it's summoning extra body, but I don't think like people are going to be losing games because of this. That's it for semi-limiteds. Unlimiteds, we've got Galatea, Kagari, Jadaragrasu, Outland, Sophrog. I'll start with the Orchist. The only card with this card being freed from the list, Orchist is pretty much at full contention except for Girsu. Girsu the Mech Knight, that this card is still limited. Everything else would be off the list, Orchist wise. I just think Orchist have been power crept. You could have made the argument. You can make the argument that Chaos Ruler and like Punk Monsters and like the Ishizu cards are stuff that can aid this strategy, but I don't think it's enough. Like, I think we got to a point where Orchest's win condition is just not strong enough toward the current decks in the OCG. Kagari. So Kagari is a very interesting one because with Kagari getting unlimited, pretty much everything outside of Hornet Drones and Engage at 2 is unlimited for Sky Strikers. And the thing about Sky Strikers is Sky Strikers are a very adaptive deck. I don't think this deck has been power crept at all. I think the real issue with Sky Strikers is just finding a proper format for it. Because as powerful as Sky Strikers is, like, there are decks or strategies that just win against Sky Strikers like flat out. I think Kagari Unlimited is fine. I think this deck could see a level of success because it also got like recent like OCG support. Like um, they have a bunch of other monsters that serve as trigger names. I don't think these cards are very good. And like the only one I can warrant is this one. I think it was this one. Yeah, like outside of that, I don't think Sky Strikers like really need help or support or anything. Rather, I think they're just a fine rogue deck. But it's really interesting because I think this is the most like powerful we've had the Sky Strikers ever since its like reign of terror during TOS format in 2018. Yadagarasu is curse irrelevant. Like we like let's talk about spirit monsters in general. Like there are a lot of powerful spirit monsters. We've in Cyberstorm Axis we're gonna get this one, Sakitama, which is a really good one. But this doesn't warrant Yadagarasu. I don't think Yadagarasu is going to steal any games anytime soon. Kershaw Land. I don't know how Eldritch is doing in the OCG. Like card pool wise. Yeah, everything's unlimited over there. Like in Master Duel, you have a few hits over there, but it's pretty much because Master Duel is a very different format. So with this card on being unlimited, I think Eldritch is just fine. Take note, the skill drain got limited, so that's a card that was really beneficial in Eldritch. So outside of other floodgates, I don't think we're going to see a lot of success from Eldritch End just because of this card's unlimited. The last card is Swap Frog. With all the sprite hits, I don't think we need to worry about this card anymore. I could see a future where they even unban Totally Awesome. I think Sprite got a very significant hit with this list. I think Sprite as a strategy is pretty much unplayable. Sprite as an engine, I could see it, but like just like take note, like Sprite already had a few hits in before this, like Jet starter of Were Limited, now we have Blue Limited, and now like Elf is gone. That's 4 significant Sprite hits that pretty much like destroys the deck. So closing thoughts. I think the OCG format is going to be very interesting. I think like off the top of my head, Purely and the Super Heavy Samurai combo deck are both going to be very strong contenders in the format. Dueling Nexus is right around the corner for them, so very soon we might see like a stuff that might happen in the OCG involving that new set. They also recently just got Wild Survivors, so that could also be significant over there in the OCG. It's very soon to tell. But yeah, this has been my discussion. I hope you found this interesting, and maybe expect some more OCG content out of me in the future. Keep practicing and keep dueling.